Welcome back to Momentous Struggle, a Star Wars Shatterpoint podcast. On this week's episode, Aubrey and I are going to recap the Shatterpoint League that we had here in the greater Phoenix area, I guess I should say, not just Phoenix, but it was like it covered like basically all the surrounding cities and everything like that. So we're going to talk about that, and we capped it off just yesterday with our league championship event, which was a very well attended event for us. So we're going to go ahead and just jump into that and talk about that a little bit. So as Aubrey always, joined here by Aubrey. How you doing, Aubrey?
As Aubrey, joined by always. I'm doing great.
Yep.
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I will say, Todd, is this what happens when you get old? I woke up this morning and my knee hurts, and that I didn't exercise. I didn't do anything. We played four rounds of Shatterpoint. Yeah, but
you stood around and walked around for 8 hours. Welcome to old age.
My knee hurts. What is this? I don't like this. It's like it actually hurts. Like I injured it. All I did was stand and play minis for 8 hours.
Yep. Welcome to old age, man. Welcome to old age. It's it is the way of the world for us and everything like that. So no. Unfortunately, this is kind of where we are. I know for myself. Yeah, definitely. Definitely getting there. I mean, I yesterday at our event, after this probably 30 minutes into the second round, my back just said, "Nope, I'm done with you. You are an idiot for doing any of this," and I basically just had to stop. So, luckily one of the other people in the event decided to drop out of the event because at the same time that we were doing our league finals, there was a learn to play event for 20 different games going on at the store as well. So he's like, you know what? I want to go have fun and play at all these other events. So I'm like, cool. So he ended up dropping, and I was pretty happy to just drop myself. So.
Yeah, I did think that was pretty funny. I was like, wait a minute. You don't want to go have fun playing games with us? You want to go have fun playing games with everyone else? Okay, I see how it is.
To be fair, he was 0-2, and he lost both of his games 0-2. So I think you were just like, yeah, I'm gonna go do something else more exciting. I mean, so, and like I said, I personally, for a change. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, myself personally, it's dude, back pain is no joke. I was probably halfway through the my round. I'm just I was not playing. I was so out of it because I was hurting so bad that I was taking off. I was playing Obi Anakin, and I was taking off the hunger tokens as I was getting engaged, not even thinking about what was going on. I was just I was that out of it. I was just not focused. I'm just oh, I hurt. So I was yeah, I was happy to drop. I was.
You hit that well, because you did not seem that bad at the event. But okay, all right, that's fair. That's okay. I kept confusing my opponents because I kept mixing up the names of Leia and Cassian's abilities, because they're very similar, right? We've got to blend in. You move one character, you move another character. Then she has her. What do you call it? You heal and then do the dash. I don't. It's funny, Todd. I can't remember the names of them now, but
of course,
not. Of course not. Yes, but they have very similar movement abilities. So I kept saying Cassian's ability for Leia's ability, but I was doing the correct version of the ability. I just kept saying the name. I think Silver Lining was going to have an aneurysm because he kept going, wait. Are you going with Leia or Cassian right now? And I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm going with the correct character, and I'm using the correct ability. I just keep calling it the other thing. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Shout out to Silver Lining for being very patient, because I was kind of doing that all day, but it was especially bad in my round 3. I was getting a little tired, and yeah, I did. But I didn't have back pain
at that point in time too. You had a couple of drinks at that point.
No. That's when I. No. That's when I started. You cannot blame. No. That's when I started. Because at that point, I was like, no. no, you can't. I had just gotten my first drink in round three, and yeah, no, it was that's all me. That's all the ADHD baby rattled around in my skull. But I mean, so here's the thing. My knee, Todd. I know this is very riveting content, but I didn't hurt at all yesterday. I didn't have back pain. I didn't have any problems. I had my old man yoga mat that I fold out and stand on at the event. So
Mhm.
why am I having trouble now?
I don't know. All right, so yeah, so one of the things I kind of wanted to talk about before we jump into the actual event itself was kind of our league leading up to it because we had a pretty decent sized league, and I don't want to take away too much thunder from the the overall league because I know Jared is going to go on to Rogue Support, probably do talk to him a little bit more detail, and they're probably going to ask a lot more, in-depth questions about the running of it and everything like that. But so for our league, because the city of Phoenix and the greater Phoenix area is so vast, like you can drive. It takes like over an hour to drive from one side of the Phoenix to the other, or the valley, as we call it. Um, so we divided our league into two separate divisions, our east and west. So if you were depending on where you were in the valley, you could sit there and get games and didn't have to drive as far. Like you were maybe within a half hour of a store that you could get a game at. So that was kind of the general consensus, and we do that with our MCP league as well. We actually have three different divisions. Like we have two up in the greater Phoenix area, and then one down in Tucson. And from the way things are looking, we're probably going to have one down in Tucson next season as well because they're starting to grow their own community down there, which is awesome. So we're going to have our league is probably going to get even bigger. But all of that said, so basically the way it worked out was we had 12 players in our West League, which is basically on the west side of Phoenix, and then on the east side of Phoenix there was 22 players. So there's a lot of players out there. Now, granted, I think some of the East Valley players went over to that side, like Chris Sampson, the purist of Christopher's. He went and played over on that side. So there were some people that we probably could have normally play on our side of town were playing over there. So just to get other games, we played 5 matches, basically 5 games over the course of 10 weeks. So basically every 2 weeks, you had the opportunity to get a game in. And then that way you could get the game in, and then we would do next pairings and stuff like that. And we do that basically so that you're not getting, so like maybe someone at the bottom, or a newer player isn't getting paired into maybe the top players in that particular area for 5 straight games because that's just not fun. So we do that to kind of just to be a punching bag. So basically we kind of do that because that's one of the lessons we learned in the MCP side of when we ran the league was doing the league that way and doing all the matchups. You'd have somebody who was fairly new player playing into like people that qualified for the LVO Invitational, and it just was like not a really feels good type of event type of thing. So I think it went well for our first kind of league, just getting everybody out there. Some people didn't like the making pairings every 2 weeks. Like I said, it's something that we learned kind of from MCP that kind of worked better. I know. What did you think about like kind of how the process worked with that, Aubrey?
I mean, I think there's merit to doing it either way because we did it one of the earlier like pre-leagues because we tested this out before we released this quote unquote first season of the league. And when it was just find anybody and go pair up with them because we did that version, that was very like you kind of just ended up with the same players because the people who had lots of availability would always just be like, yeah, me, and then you would struggle to find like your last couple of games because you would knock out, like I'd play with Sam or I'd play with Chris or I'd play, like these players who were regularly at IO or Gamers Guild. Like, yeah, those are easy. Then you'd be like down to the last 2 rounds and you're like, okay, all right. I need you to respond to me, please. Please, somebody. I've already played all the people who are responding in Discord. I need you. I need some of you to talk to me.
Yeah.
So, like, that was kind of, that had that con to it. And then, like, the one where you, like, get all of your parent, because we also tried the one where you get all 5 of your pairings at once Because now that's like going way back,
Hmm.
way like not even our league. Like that was something we were doing in the
Yep.
early days. That one, I mean, that one almost ran into the same problem, but for a different reason. When you had all 5 of your pairings and you could schedule them like over 2 or 3 months, people would just be like, "Oh, I'll get there eventually. Oh, I get there eventually. Oh, I get there eventually." And you're like, "Okay, but now like we're on the last 2 weeks of the league. I need you to like we need to actually meet."
Oh, and then they have something that comes up, yeah, and then they have something that comes up where they're out of town for 2 weeks, and like, okay, well, I never got my game in,
Yeah. So
so
yeah.
yeah.
So then you have that version that leads to they think players think they have all the time in the world to complete their games, but really you should do it in a timely fashion because the whole goal is for us to meet and game over the around the valley. So this one, if nothing else, you were forced to. You had a clear deadline. I think 2 weeks was enough time to be able to schedule a game. If you're like going into the league, like when you sign up, hey, I'm signing up for. I'm going to be playing a game of Shatterpoint at least once every 2 weeks with someone, and I might have to travel a little bit to get there. So everybody was on the same page. And I mean, life happens. Like, I mean, I know we had at least one player who ended up having to like concede a couple rounds because just like life kept hitting that player repeatedly over the head with a
Hmm.
crowbar. But for the most part, I think this method gets people to get to their games, does all the things you already talked about, and gets the league to a conclusion in a timely fashion. So there you go. That's my 2 cents based on the other experiences where it's loosey goosey, and I mean I live in loosey goosey. Don't get me wrong. I usually don't have a problem with it, but it was too goosey and too loosey.
Yeah. No, I get it, and that's like I think that's one of the things that issues that we ran into with the MCP side of it was that there'd be a lot of times where it's like, okay, I'm still trying to schedule my match. Okay, I'm still trying to schedule my match, and it just wouldn't work out. But yeah, I mean, I think this one pretty well. There was, I think, a couple people that weren't able to get games in. We had like one or two drops like after a couple of matches and stuff like that. So life happens. I don't know if maybe we'll try and go up to 6 week or 6 games instead of 5. I don't know. We'll see what like works out. But what we try to do is run 2 of these leagues a year because they go on for about you got about 3 months with like the lead up, getting your games in, doing the league finals and stuff like that. So there's usually like a spring into summer type of one, and then a fall into winter league that we do. Is usually the time frames that we do. Like this was April until July, and then like our next one is probably going to be, I'm assuming like September into November, maybe late August. I don't know. We'll figure it out somewhere in there because you really kind of want to start doing this like right around the time like so that you're finishing before you get into the holidays like the November December holidays because that's usually pretty rough to sit there and get people to come out and play it. Like the game stores usually die off like especially in the States because you just starting like maybe 2 weeks before, like starting right about after Veterans Day, which is November 11th. Right about after once there, it really starts to just die down because people got like Thanksgiving, then you got Christmas, and you got New Year's, and it's just, there's so many holidays to sit there and really get players into stores, and they got other family commitments and stuff like that. So that's usually like you want to kind of end right about the beginning of November for if you're running like a long term league is one of the things that we've kind of noticed with playing with like some of the stuff that we've done with other systems and stuff like that. But I think it went well overall. We had a great turnout with players and everything along those lines. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I mean, like overall thoughts. What were you thinking? Like how everything went?
No, I think it went very smoothly. I mean, we had a clear deadline on everything. I mean, about the only thing that didn't go smoothly is that we had to reschedule the end of league tournament, but that wasn't really due to us, so I don't need to dig into that. Uh, and so, I mean, I think the time frame makes sense. Like you it's a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot because you put up a Longshanks, everybody signs up, you tell everyone to go get their pairings, but oh my word, let me tell you, like the number of times I'm sure you and Jerry were getting questions about this or that or the other thing, or people messaging you,
Mhm.
like, I can imagine just from watching it all play out. So you kind of need a break and a lull. Plus, like July here is when people try to run away. Like a lot of vacation.
Get out of the
Yeah, a
heat.
lot of vacations happen
Yep.
in July in Arizona, so you want to be kind of done by that time. And then, oh, the holidays. I do events at the library. I mean, they're small events, but yeah, we basically just stopped doing stuff like the last few weeks of the year. Like there's just no point. They're like people are
Mm.
doing other stuff. They're with their family. Nah. So no notes. No
Absolutely.
notes.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, in the league, like, it was pretty cool. So, like, the East Division, granted, they had, like, about 10 more players than the West Division, but they only had three primaries not get played during the entire thing. Like, the only primaries that weren't played, sad face, Padme was not played, Hondo or Grievous, for all the three of those. And surprising that Grievous wasn't played, especially because Samson was over in that division. Like, how did that happen? How did he not play a single version of Grievous?
He
But
he
yeah,
wanted to play with good units.
but it's the league. It doesn't matter. Like, yeah, like
No, no,
Grievous, yeah, definitely. But
that one
it's
was for
funny
you,
though,
Chris.
right? But it's so funny, like, in comparison to like the West, where it's like there was, let's see, 15 units didn't get played in the West compared to the East. Like, again, like Padme again wasn't played. I know Grievous was played because I played him, but Hondo again wasn't played. So across 34 players playing 5 games each, Padme and Hondo were not played at all. But on our side, like, it was also like Luminara didn't get played, Plo Koon didn't get paid, no Cassian on our side, which is pretty surprising. The Ewoks, nobody plays Ewoks on our side of town. No Moff Gideon, no Han, no General Solo, no Lando, no Hera. It's just wild. I mean, and Luke and Freedom Fighter Leia, that's pretty understandable. Both Ewok primaries weren't played. Crosshair wasn't played. So some of that, but like Plo and Luminara, some people see, but the Cassian one is really surprising to me
Well,
that nobody on our side. But
I think
oh
the
no, go ahead.
Cassian thing is also just the timing of the box, and also, I mean, we need to talk about the "this is the way" in the room, Todd. Most of the West Valley was very very happy, myself included, to just play Mandos all day long, and so usually
Mm-hmm.
you don't see Cassian with them because he wants at least a little bit of rebellion. I know people are playing him with Empire too. I don't know. I haven't tested any kind of list like that, but I don't. I think it was more of everybody on the West Valley wanted to play Mandos. I'm actually more surprised that the all the primaries taken weren't just Armorer, Maul, Mandalorian, Ahsoka. That's it.
Well, 6 players brought the armor, 5 brought the Mandalorian. You had 4 Mauls, and then everything else was threes and twos and ones. So it's like, but you still had like 3 people played Plo, 3 played Anakin, 3 played Dooku, which is pretty shocking.
Ooh.
But it's like, yeah, it was very Mandalorian heavy. There was 2 Ahsokas in there because I know that Izzy for sure plays like his Mandalorians. He still plays Ahsoka with like the core box like type of Mandalorian build. So he still plays that, which is pretty cool. I mean, and I think he did that in our league finals as well. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I think it was great. I mean, there's a lot of pretty decent data I think that can come out of like a lot of that for what we do in Arizona and what everyone plays. I mean, but overall it's a good mix of everything, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, and spoilers. Yes, he absolutely is playing Ahsoka because he ran me over with Ahsoka in my second round. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Oh my word,
Yeah,
Izzy is
but
a
so
formidable opponent. That's what I'll say.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, and people that have played him, like he's a very that have played him like an MCP, like, so would probably agree with that as well because he does. I mean, he's just a good miniatures player in general. But yeah, so it was pretty wild. I mean, so we had our league finals. Out of the 34 players that were there that played in the league, 24 signed up. We had 2 drop the day before, and then 2 people that just forgot that the league finals were on the 5th of July. Like both of them messaged me going, "I thought that was next weekend." So
Todd, did you
we
or
ended up with
did
20, which is still a great.
did you or did you not send out a reminder to everyone asking for a friend?
I sent out an email.
Yeah.
I sent out an email. I did. I mean, but like not everybody checks their emails. It's funny. Like even Izzy, when I was coming in, I'm like, I did send an email. He's like, you did? I'm like, yeah. He's like, oh yeah, I did see something come from Longshanks. I'm like, but you didn't look at the email. So that was I just found it funny. It was like, so we ended up with 20 players, which is still great. I mean, a little bit of people dropping or missing it or something like that is pretty normal. I gave one of the players the first round bye in the hopes that they would show up, and unfortunately, just after the first round, we're like, nope, I'm not going to be able to make it. I'm like, okay. So it shows 21 on Longshanks, so it really was just 21 players. But oh my lord, did people bring Cassian? There was nine players out of the 20 players brought Cassian, and he was played in 19 games, and we played 4 rounds, so we could sit there and get a true winner. Really is what it came down to. But yeah, it was a lot of Cassian who came to play yesterday.
I mean, can you blame them? I was one of the people who brought Cassian, and mind you, I had gotten like a couple of practice games in. I played well, okay. So originally I was playing Accuser's List, where you kind of play this hybrid between like rebel spies and specters. So it's Cassian, Ezra, and Han and Chewie, and then Kanan, Sabine, and Rebel Commandos. But after a couple of my second practice games, specifically, this was a lot of fun. I went over to Gamers Guild Tempe. I played John, the X-Wing ambassador over there, and Matt was coaching us because we were both practicing. We were both practicing with like units we didn't know. Like it was my first time or second time putting Han and Chewie on the table. My first or second time with Cassian, yada yada. So he's like, "Oh, you do this and that and this and that." It was very. I think Matt was having fun because he was explaining to both of us how to play our lists better. But I'm sorry, Accuser. I got wounded 4 times during the course of that game. I only got one Cassian, or not Cassian, one Kanan trigger the whole time because he just went hardcore for Han and Chewie, and then he was playing with secondary Chewie, so he just kept ripping the arms off my mostly damaged units, and so like then triggers weren't happening, and I was like, what would be really cool right now? Princess Leia. Princess Leia would be very cool right now. So that's what I actually ended up taking to the event. But I'm sorry, Cassian is a beast. Offensive, defensive, his abilities, his movement. It's kind of hard to. I don't know. I'm not putting him down anytime soon. That's for sure. There's about 2 cents on Cassian.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think he's probably just going to get better when Jyn Erso comes out as well. I mean, like she just got teased, like her box just got like completely teased. So I think he's just going to make like that box is just going to make her better, especially when you start adding Chirrut and Baz and Chirrut, because I think they're the 2 of them with that force refresh are going to just make them better. So I don't think Cassian's going anywhere anytime soon. At least definitely here in the Phoenix area. So if you are traveling from out of state for the GT, you're like that we're going to be having here in September, you probably need to prepare yourself a little bit for a little bit of a Cassian fall type of a thing. So it's going to be I think it's going to be a Cassian heavy type of a thing, or at least be prepared to run into him like once or twice.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to play around with Inquisitors a little bit, especially after again more spoilers. I won the Krennic box in the raffle that we did because I know we're going to talk about prizes and stuff, but I'm jumping around. Dear listeners, you're used to this, right? I can't tell the story in a straight order.
Yeah. No, you definitely cannot. But yeah, I guess we can jump into the event. I mean, like I said, I only played in 2 rounds. I lost both mine. And like I was looking back at my first game, like looking at round 1, I ended up playing into Bob. And we had like a really, really tight game. It was like our struggle one, like was pretty back and forth. with our game that we played. He ended up playing. I think for that one, he played a Vader Iden list, and then like so all Empire, which is pretty on brand for Bob. I played my Bounty Hunters list, which was the Cad Bane and Mandalorian list, and it came down to me not seeing a line of play. Basically, it's like I had on the very last activation, I had to basically score 3 points and get 2 wounds. Was the line that I saw, and I had the Mandalorian, so I had 3 points. I got the first wound that got me my momentum, and then I used do the magic hand thing, and our clan of two, I should say. I did clan of two. I moved forward and made a 5 dice attack, which I needed to do to win. The problem was I didn't have to do that, and I didn't see that line until afterwards. All I had to do was clan of two and move Iden off of the point that she was on, and I had a healthy Cad Bane on there, and I would have scored 4 points instead of 3, and I got the 1 wound, and I would have ended up winning that way. But I didn't see that at all. Like at the time, it was like I was so focused on killing instead of like something else. So it was a little frustrating with that one. So I lost that one, and then like I said, the second round for me, because I'm just gonna go through mine because I ended up like dropping after the second round. Second round for me, ran into Iden again.
Wow.
It was a Iden Inquisitor list, and I think both games Iden went either first or second. So like it was like first against Bob and then second against Damon. But Damon had he had the ISF, so ISF came forward and basically started beating up. And that's where I played my the Obi and Anakin list. And with that one, he had everybody past the midline at that point in time, just shooting into my stuff and like wounding everything in the right there before I even had a chance to activate them, type of a thing. So it was a pretty brutal game, and like I said, I was not focused on it at all. So that's why I was very happy to drop after that, where I'm just like, yep, not focusing, not getting any focus going. So, but it was a fun event. I had a good time, and then afterwards, just kind of like hung out with everybody, kind of like made sure the event ran as smoothly as possible to end finishing it up and everything like that. So it was a good time. Had a blast with that. But I know what you wanted to talk about, like your rounds, at least what you remember of your rounds.
Hey, Todd, I have notes. I took notes this time because I also realized I should have talked about the event at Mr. E's too, but so sorry everybody, that event happened too. It was fun. We had 3 rounds. My first round was basically a learn to play event with a new player, which meant I lost in the tournament, but that's fine. And then Matt taught me how a player can remove Mace's bubble at will if they're a good player, which is why I'm not playing Mace, because yeah. And then Bob and I played, and I think man, did I lose that?
You guys tied.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Showing is a tie.
Oh god, that's right. It was a tie. We got a true tie because of how things happened. Because like the struggle ended. The struggle ended at time. Like I won the second struggle at time. Oh god, we had a really long like. Oh god, 90-minute struggle one. Okay, all right. Anyway, mysteries. That's done. All right, this event where I have notes. Boom. Okay, so round 1 was against Sheev, and I would like everyone to know that I deployed my Rebel Commandos at range 3 against Sheev, even with Todd trying to distract me.
I don't think I was anywhere near you at that point
Nope,
in time.
you were in the room. You were distracting me.
Yeah, I have that effect on people. It's my stunning good looks.
So like, I mean, we had some good back and forth, but there was definitely like a couple of mistakes he made. Like there was definitely one point where he should have just moved his path. Like, and even Daniel, I hope you don't mind me sharing, because he told me this like as it happened. So there was one key point where he could have just moved both his Rebel Pathfinders up onto a point and then just bodied it and taken it from me. but he went for the attack instead, and then the attack failed, so then he wasn't able to get on the point, and that decision just kind of snowballed. Like, mind you, while the first line of play was clearly the better line of play because it was guaranteed and he didn't need to do the attack was also reasonable. Like he should have been able to like shove on, but don't trust your dice, everyone. PSA, don't trust your dice. I That's gonna come up later in my rounds. uh, so like just because of that, we end up going to a struggle 3, and then struggle 3 was one of those classic like Sheev did a turn. I need exactly this card to undo his turn. I get that card. Rinse and repeat like 4 times in a row. Like just every card I flipped from my order deck was like, what is the exact unit that can undo whatever Sheev did on his turn? Let's get that card over and over and over. Like, so I don't know.
All right.
He was a good sport about it, but I mean it was like even I felt rough about. I was like I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. Uh, then so Izzy. Oh, but then it was my turn. Okay, now this is not to say that Izzy is an extremely good opponent and that I would have like completely won or anything because of this decision. But I fully believe that the one mistake I made during my round with Izzy completely snowballed the game into a 2-0 win for him. What happened is I moved so Rex and Ahsoka were both on a point because we were on sabotage, and so like they were on like my left mid line point, and I and he had clan crease like behind Ahsoka, and so what I needed to do was move both my ARF troopers onto the point and either wound the clan crease or shove them off. But what I didn't realize is that he had moved Bo-Katan just before that, and they had the protection steadfast buttable. So I went to go do the attack, and he's like, protection steadfast. And I went, okay, we're not shoving them off anymore. We have to actually wound them. That's the only option. So I do my attack, and they take like a total of 5 or 6 damage because protection. And this is the mistake I made. I should have used I'm Always First Kid from Rex to then do the 5. Like again, like the variable is who knows if the 5 dice attack would have actually wounded him because protection and steadfast. But they had like 5 out of 7 damage on him. Like, and it's Rex. Like his expertise is pretty good. But I just
Doing 2 damage isn't hard.
Right. Well, we need to be 3 damage because of protection, but whatever. Like it was within the realm of possibility. Except I just completely forgot about his ability and didn't do it. And so instead, they're sitting healthy and pretty, and then he's able to. I think he either Shatterpoints them. He must Shatterpoint them, I think, because he had already gone with them once before. But however it turned out, he was then able to move them onto my backline point and score 5 out. Because that happened, he kept control of that objective. I had just left it to try and wound them to like take that point. Instead, he scores 5 wins out, and I just never got traction the rest of the game. Now, it's Izzy. He might have just ran me over anyway. But the difference between having an alive clan crease at that stage of the game and a dead clan crease at that stage of the game was really, really important for the whole rest of the game. And I missed the line. So he ran me over 2-0 because it's Izzy. Oh, I was playing my other round. I was playing my other list, which was Annie Obi, Rex and Shakti and 501st and Arfs. So like that was my because I was going back and forth between that and the Ahsoka Kiadi Mundi list, and I don't know what do you think, Todd? The hunker addiction is real. I really like Obi-Wan's ability.
It is, if you can remember to do it. If you can remember, like I said, like if you're not like me and just like not focused at all on playing. I was not focused at all on playing. But yeah, I think if you leverage his ability with Hunkers, his identity that he has, if you leverage his identity effectively, he's a very potent thing to play against. Like, I'm getting to the point where I'm just not sold on Anakin right now. Like, there is like the games I like, if he whiffs, it's brutal, man. Like, there's like when he goes off hard, and it's amazing. But like, I had an activation where he just whiffed on an attack. I had my arfs were wounded in the back, so I didn't have the ability to sit there and get him to move forward, like do his their ability to sit there and like after to dash him forward. So I didn't have that, and then so I couldn't, and he didn't get a jump or anything like that on his attack to move forward to get into position to make a second attack. So it's basically okay, whiffed. It was an early activation with him and just didn't get anything out of it that I really needed to. So it was there's just like his whiffs are just really breaking, especially when as a primary unit. Like you need your primary to sit there and go off and do extraordinary things, and there's times where he's just not going to. So that's one of the things I'm like kind of moving away from Anakin. If I like Obi, but there's probably a better pairing out there. Ki-Adi-Mundi probably is the better pairing if you wanted to go that route. But I think there's other things. I mean, I don't know. There's still Luminara. I don't know if people want to go that route. But yeah, I mean, I think that there's, if you're looking for consistency, I think there's probably better things to do with Obi-Wan than bring Anakin.
Oh, right. I think the answer isn't necessarily that Anakin is bad. Like, obviously his abilities are really potent, but I think he's pretty much stapled to his buddy Cam. Like, I feel like that's what unlocks Anakin's potential. Because I will say, and again, this isn't me throwing shade at Izzy. I know I've said that a couple of times, but there were 2 times where an Anakin attack should have gotten me what I needed, and I whiffed twice, to speak to your point. And but one of them was admittedly Izzy played around Anakin pretty well, and so like that led to the attack not being a great attack. And then like the second time I had to attack Paz Vizsla, like he was basically the only option, because I think I think coverts were down on the point. Like, so like the coverts were already wounded. They were the only ones on the point. I had to attack Paz to get it, and Paz has his wake up before you go ability, and so yes, Todd, that is the reference I just made. And so
Yep.
and so he just went, well, okay, I'm gonna wake him up. That point's mine now, and also I can like jump away from you, so you don't get to do a melee. Like, oh, it was a nightmare. Anyway, I am thinking about trying Obi-Wan with Kit Fisto, just to see what that feels like the extra mobility. I don't know. This is starting to turn into a Liam episode. He's gonna pop out of a closet and tell us about how great Republic is.
Probably. All of a sudden, like now, I just want to make an ominous reference at the end of the episode and go, like the most Aubrey thing you can do is compare Paz Vizsla to Wham. So, but we'll move on past that.
Aw, Omnis, we miss you already, buddy. Okay,
Yep.
sorry, moving on. So to talk more Republic, though, round 3, I'm playing against Silver Lining, and he's doing full Republic. So I was like, ugh, I do not want to have an Obi-Wan off with like Hunker Token, Hunker Token, Hunker Token, Hunker Token. So I'm like, I'm going back to my Rebels list. Plus, I was thinking maybe he would drop Ki-Adi-Mundi, which is a little more aggressive, and that might lean into it a bit more in the thoughts that like if I picked my Republic, anyway, that's not what happened. He played Obi Plo Koon, and this was a really tight game, like good back and forth, but we had like a long struggle 1 and then a super quick struggle 2, if I'm remembering right. But like, and again, I don't want to like, it was very close back and forth, and we both made like a few mistakes on things because we were starting to rush, because mission, like we had just started struggle 3 when Mission Critical got called, like and we're like, oh boy, okay, we gotta go. So we're trying.
And you were playing on Sabotage, so Sabotage can be long.
Yeah. It's tough because we both, I believe, my last 2 opponents, we all, it was Sabotage all the way down. We weren't getting out of Sabotage, and I'm almost thinking about making that Rebel list my main list and playing Never Tell just to avoid the quagmire that sabotage can be sometimes in tournament play. But anyway, talking about dice, why you can't rely on dice, and again, I'm not saying that I would have won, but our game was so close that just before I lost, I had an attack with Ezra. I needed 1 damage and 1 shove, which he has on 1. I end up rolling something like 5 or 6 strikes, just straight strikes, no expertise, no nothing, and Silver Lining blocks all of them. Like, it wasn't even a bad result. It was like 6 strikes. It was a good number of strikes, but his defense went, what if you got 0 results on this attack? And then the game was,
And that happens.
yeah, then the game was pretty much over. And then, like, there was this weird line at the end where time got called, and like Matt Booker was kind of walking us through it. I just conceded to him because I was like, I'm not running this out. But like, there was like a 5% chance that because he had to wound one of my models to like get all of the points and score out and win. And then like, if I had used Cassian's trigger and Leia's trigger, which, oh, sidebar, everybody. You haven't lived until you've yeeted Leia across the board with Cassian's reposition, then dashed her into range of the model that your opponent thought was safe, and just blowing their head off with that 5 dice attack. That's a drug. That is so much fun. Oh. But anyway, there was a chance where I could have, like, it would have required another attack, and my 5 dice attacks were not doing what I needed today, so oh well. Like, I could have shoved one of his models off, climbed up, taken that point, kept him from scoring, and he would have been like off by 1 instead of winning. But whatever, move on. I don't care. I end up conceding because I'm like, whatever. So then I play against Magulator's brother, round 4. And at this point, yeah, now I have had a couple of drinks. So we're just having fun, loosey-goosey. I don't remember the name of my abilities. I kept referring to I was referring to Cassian and Leia as each other, too. At the end of my game with Silver Lining, I started doing this. Because I kept going, oh, my Cassian's the last card in my deck. I flip over, it's Leia. And he's like, what? And I'm like, I meant my primary. Like, I meant this character, but I used the wrong name. Yeah, that kept going. Dane was very patient with me because this had nothing to do with the drinks.
He's a teacher. He's a high school teacher, so he's like, I can handle this.
Yeah. But this was the mirror. This was Rebel on Rebel. He was running K2SO and the Pathfinders. He was basically running the whole Cassian box as is, and then the other half of his list was because it was almost a mirror. So it was PLC, Rebel Commandos, and that's right, Callus. Yeah, that was kind of cool. I don't think he really had Callus there for the rerolls. I think because we talked about it. Because I like Callus too, but Callus is kind of locked into he wants to go up and swing as much dice as he can at people. And so I was asking him a little bit how it went. He seemed to enjoy it. I don't know. What do you think of using Callus literally as a beat stick? Yay, nay, maybe.
If you play, I mean, like if you're building for that purpose, I think it's fine. I think you just you have to. It's really like building and your playstyle for that purpose. Then sure, go for it. I mean, like we've seen. Oh my gosh, what is his name at Adepticon? Who, I mean, literally had Callus there just for the rerolls, and that works out fine. But if your game plan isn't the rerolls and it's just to sit there and use it for violence, then that's fine too. I mean, it's all on how you're going to sit there and play the game, and how you, as long as you have a plan to execute that plan. So it's I think you can do it. I mean, Callus is still a great great model for sure. And you can definitely do great things with him. So I don't see a problem with doing that at all.
Yeah, yeah. So this again was on Sabotage, and the way the table was laid out, which was pretty cool. Like, go in the Discord, take a look at the table layouts. I think Todd set up most of them. There were ladders I checked though. Don't worry. Well, actually, I just 3D print them on the building, so Todd can't take them off the table. Ha ha ha. That is the primary purpose. Definitely not just to save me on printing time. Uh, so we were in like these little like hallway corridor things. So like we were very much locked into like sending half our squad this way, half the squad the other way. But then I had to like start dealing with K2S lockdown. Oh my word. Okay, Jerry, I understand why you like Lobot. Lockdown is annoying. I kept having to send everybody to my left side of the board to deal with K2SO. Like I had to just take him down because lockdown was making my life miserable. Um, I had a lot of that to actually going back to round 3 in struggle 1. Silver Lining and I literally had almost every model in both of our squads on 1 point because of the way things kept going in our combat actions. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was tough. But anyway, at 1 point I had to do parkour with Cassian to be able to shove K2SO. So I had to go away from the objective, hit a ladder, climb onto a building, then do that whole, well, I don't know why I call it moonwalking. It's really skywalking, but then skywalk across to drop down.
It's Skywalkering.
Skywalkering. There we go, Todd. There we go. To like drop down and hit another ladder to go up a building just so that I could be behind K2SO to shove him out of the little hallway or alleyway, I guess it would be, or outside the little alleyway, because that was the only way I could get the proper shove angle on him and then drop back down. So I basically did this big giant circle when it was all said and done to like almost end up where I started, just forward, but being able to shove K2SO off of the objective. That droid was a nightmare. I'm gonna have nightmares about K2SO.
No, I mean, like there was the some of the maps. I know there were some of them. Like one of them I didn't set up, and it unfortunately had like almost all of the points on the ground level, so that was a little frustrating. Like that I felt kind of bad for. Um, but yeah, I mean, like for the most part, I think the terrain was pretty great. For we had some very, I think like some of the maps were dense enough to where they really made gameplay a little kind of challenging for where the terrain was actually very impactful on the gameplay. And I think that's kind of what we were going for with like some, especially with the Fractured City maps that we had out there, was like really to kind of make them challenging, so where you just like had those like narrow corridors to sit there and kind of work around and make that part of the gameplay. Not on every map, but I think that was kind of cool to sit there and do and stuff like that. So I unfortunately didn't get a lot of pictures, but I think that there were some ones out there, and they're probably on our Discord, of like how cool that was.
I took a picture of every table so you can see some of it. And make no joke, I loved playing on that table. That was super fun. Even though, and like I have Fractured City, I play in Fractured City a lot, but that layout, especially with Sabotage Showdown, was super fun. No, I had a blast on that table.
Yeah.
But it was just hilarious that like because like Ezra had run. I think it was Ezra had run over there, and like the Pathfinders were over there. So there was like a little line. There was like a little line of models all in there, and that's why I had to like, because I couldn't shove K2SO that way because there's like 3 models behind him, all in a little queue, waiting
Mm.
to murder each other, and then uh my models were kind of like off a little bit to the right, the right of KTOSO, well, my right of KTOSO. So I literally had to it turned into a puzzle. I had to be like, okay, how can I shove this robot off of this objective? How do I do it? Okay, well, can't go that way. Can't go that way. I'm gonna go this way, all the way around in a circle, and I got there. So like that was cool. But um,
Yep.
I kid you not, doing that mirror, Todd, in during I think it was struggle 2. We had so many revenge triggers in one turn that I forgot whose turn it was. Because
Yeah.
because his I think it was I killed a model and then his revenge trigger killed a model, so then my revenge trigger attacked and then I killed another model, so then his trigger went off and like by the time it was done, I think like 3 or 4 models between the two of us were dead. Because we just kept going, what if Leia got every trigger in existence and bounced around the board like a pinball machine until everyone is dead? But it was happening twice because we both had Cassian and and PLC, and you're like, oh my god! I was like, whose turn is it now? I don't even know anymore. And so
Sounds like a fun game.
yeah, and so another reason that I think I want to kind of go to Never Tell, because I think it's just going to be a little faster, is this game did go to time 2, and it's not like we were playing at a pretty good rate of pace, like we were moving through, because like our struggle 2 was really fast, but anyway, so the game came down to I had a 5 dice attack from Leia because Dane had to. He had to. I think he had to wound somebody to like score out and win. So I had a chance to do a 5 dice attack with Leia. And what did I roll? 4 fails and what expertise. So and if I had just been able to get, I think I needed 2 success. I don't remember this detail because it was the end of the night. And yeah, that was second or third drink.
You had a couple drinks.
Yeah. But basically, I think I needed like 2 results from a 5 dice attack with Leia, which is not unreasonable. But no, didn't happen. Brr, brr, brr. So I'm happy to report that even though I only went 1 and 3, like I had a blast. It was a lot of fun. My opponents were great, and 2 of my 3 games very much could have broken the other way. Like that's how close they were. So like I think that's indicative of a good meta. Like it's not like I rolled up with Cassian and PLC and I'm playing on easy mode, going plink plink plink, taking everybody down. Like no, we had great games, and Izzy, you proved to me once again that this is the way. It's fine. It's fine.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, I think it was a very successful event. We, like I said, since we had 20 players, we decided to go 4 rounds. So it was a longer day. So like we started like right about 10:30 is when we started, and I mean, I didn't get home until like 9:30. My wife's like, "Where the hell are you?" I'm like, "I'm running an event," but it was still, we had a nice long event. It ended up working to where we only had one undefeated player, and that was of course Chris Sampson, the purest of Christophers, being the ever so wonderful player that he is. He played, I mean, so looking at his matches, like he basically he was list locked going into his finals because he
Oh.
basically just felt like, yeah, he played Kanan and Ahsoka, Fulcrum Ahsoka, all the way for this first 3 rounds, and because that's where he felt the most comfortable in. And that's, I mean, he's done that, and I've seen him do that in multiple tournaments where it's like he's just feels more confident in the matchups and is perfectly fine with list locking himself into whatever list he's playing. And that's, I mean, I'm glad he has that level of comfort where he's like, you know what, if I he wants to guarantee he's putting himself in a position to sit there and win, like play for the win, instead of, well, I want to sit there and have the best opportunity if I win. So I get why he does what he does. So yeah, he played that, and then like was list locked into playing his Grievous and Cad Bane list in the finals, and ended up pulling that out. He ended up winning, going 4-0. So we made or this was all Jared actually. He made the decided to get the championship belt, like a wrestler style belt, and with our league logo on it, because we had our league, we made our own Desert Collective League logo and everything like that. So he put that on there. So a really cool looking belt, and like yeah, Chris took it down, ended up winning the whole thing. And he played like a lot of good opponents. He ended up playing against Nick Rader, who like was a top 16 player at Worlds. He played against Jared, who's no slouch himself. He ended up playing against Izzy in round 3, beat Izzy, and then played against Andrew Profita for the last round as well. So I mean, it was just, yeah. I mean, he played solid opponents all the way down. Like he didn't have like a weak opponent or anything like that. You know, he didn't have to go against like someone like me.
Yeah,
So,
he didn't.
He was pretty solid.
Didn't play me either. Yeah. Oh, we almost forgot to talk about Todd, the bingo card, and the prizes. We got to. We got to talk about. We talked about the belt.
Go for it.
Okay. So Jerry, great Jerry. He made these bingo cards that had stuff like play a rebel, play empire, play a prequel character, play original character, win struggle 1, win struggle 2, win struggle 3, etc., etc. But pretty basic stuff. Although I had trouble because the free space was 4 painted squads. and
Yeah, we know you.
And I'm like, guys, like, come on. And he's like, well, what if it was just 2 painted squads? Would that be better? And I'm like, no, I haven't painted Shakti yet. She only has primer. Because, like, my Republic list was all painted except for Shakti. Because, hey, have you seen that mini, Todd? I know you were working on Shakti. That looks daunting.
She's painted.
Right? Oh, you finished
it.
Oh, right. You finished. No, that mini is daunting. I'm not ready for that. We'll get there. We'll get there.
You're just not patient enough for painting it. Like you have to sit there because like you want to get it done, and like you just have to enjoy the journey of painting and just take your time. And that's like you just want to get done with it. I know what the issue is with.
Yes, Todd. Fine, Todd. Okay. So. Anyway, the rest of the rest of the bingo card. I'm trying to remember what I specifically had to do. Oh, so Han and Chewie basically are the only reason I could complete the bingo card because the middle space not my option. So I have like 4. 1, 2, 3. Like I have 4 avenues closed off to me. So I go over to Jerry because and of course nerds being nerds, min maxing here. We're all asking him, well, what does win a comeback game mean? What does this mean? What does that mean? And I had to go to Jerry. I'm like, hey Jerry, if I payday Han and Chewie, I know it's not payday, but the equivalent ability, whatever it's called. If I payday Han and Chewie and I make him a bounty hunter, does that count that I played a bounty hunter? What about Galactic Empire? If I payday Han and Chewie and make him Galactic Empire for no reason in my game, do I get Galactic Empire? And Jerry's just giving me a look like he's like sure, Aubrey, whatever. Hey, I wasn't gonna get a bingo otherwise, and I needed a bingo.
And the prizes for bingo, you were going to get the prize whether you got bingo or not is really what it came down to. It was just something fun to do because they were just little cheap, like $3 prizes.
I don't care.
It's like, that was the funniest thing is people.
I wanted my bingo. I wanted my bingos, okay? Because the only way I could naturally get a bingo, I would have had to play against somebody on First Contact. That was the only way my list could get, and I didn't bring First Contact. And did I want to play on First Contact? Sorry, Damio Matt, but no. Or is it him or Accuser? I don't know. One of those two. They love First Contact, and
It's Accuser who loves it.
Oh, okay. Well,
yeah,
whatever. No, I don't like First Contact. ADHD baby. Everything's flipping over every 5 minutes. No, my brain's gonna explode. Anyway. No, they were. It was super fun because like people were always like, oh hey, if I do this, I can get the bingo. And then like even my game against Izzy, I actually had a really strong early start where I had taken 4 objectives and I hung on to them for a minute, like 3 or 4 turns, and I'm like, cool, I'm gonna win. And then Izzy systematically dismantled my defenses. Like, whew, okay, Izzy. And so. Like even we went to Jerry, we're like, hey, I know that you said like a comeback is like losing the first struggle and then like winning 2 and 3, but what about Aubrey having control of nearly the entire struggle 1 and then still getting raffle stomped into the ground? And he's like, whatever. You could tell Jerry was like, I did not know I was going to get these many questions. Hey Jerry, welcome to trying to do what was it? Frenemies, and all of the questions we got asked the first year about, well, what does this mean? What about this tag? What about that tag? And I had to rewrite the rules for Frenemies like 15 times because you all kept trying to break it.
It's what we do. It's what nerds do, man. Like I said, and it was like I said, and this was for bingo, just to win a little cheap $3 like prize type of a thing. So it was funny. By the way, one of the prizes that you had was a gift bag, an R2D2 gift bag that was in there. And for some reason, your birthday card was still inside of that bag. So whoever won decided to pick that R2D2 bag also got a birthday card that was made out to Aubrey because he forgot to take that out.
That sounds like me. That tracks. That tracks. Hey, it's a really cool bag. I wanted to.
I'm like, why is this not? Clothing?
I wanted to pay. I wanted to pay it forward. Like it was a cool gift bag. Like I didn't know I left the birthday card.
It was very cool.
Well, anyway, you know what? You get an extra gift from the ADHD baby rattling around in my skull. There you go. You got a bonus gift.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
Happy birthday to me and to you.
Yeah. It was from somebody. It wasn't from Talia either. I don't know who gave.
No, it was one of my coworkers. That's even funnier.
Yeah, so it was just like I think her name was Sarah or something. So you got a gift card from or a birthday card to Aubrey from Sarah.
Susie, it was Susie.
The cool bag.
Yeah, it was Susie at work.
Susie.
Yeah.
I knew it was an S.
Yeah, no, that's funny. That tracks. Hey, you know what? That was the funny part because everybody was like, oh. Like you don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about the prizes. It's fine. Let's just play it. And I'm like, I brought a third of the prizes. I'm not worried about the prizes.
Right.
Like I grabbed like I haven't even really been playing it. Like I'm planning on giving Izzy my Mandos because they're just sitting in a corner collecting dust. But I grabbed a couple of packs of the Star Wars Unlimited because I'm like, if I spike one of those silly showcases that are going for a couple $100, that's. Why not? Instead, I got I got Darth Revan and Darth Malak. So I don't know. I might build a Darth Revan, Darth Malak for funsy deck that of whatever I have lying around.
There you go. Yeah, but yeah, no, I think it's gonna be interesting. I mean, and for all of the other prizes, I mean, we had what about 4 or 5 different, just boxes, and then we had like both dual packs. We had the Ahsoka one, Ahsoka Vader, and we had the Vader OB2 box for raffle, along with a high ground pack. At least
Krennic, because
3 or at least 3. You got Krennic. I ended up getting
Cassian.
The Cassian box. There was a Cad Bane box. I mean, and then there was some promo cards that we had that were thrown in there. So all sorts of cool stuff. I mean, it was really nice to sit there and just be able to like get that. Like I think so. You know, for the most part, the tournament like really was all of the tournament fees paid for like all of these prizes that we raffled off at the end, along with just having that championship belt. So like you basically got, and then we had like the league prizes for like the Kit Fisto acrylic, and then the top 4 for the people that finished in the top 4 in the tournament. So we had a lot of great prizing for it. I mean, and I think that was fantastic for just the entire event, was that we had such a good prize support, and that shows just because we had so many players that showed up. I mean, 34 players paying into fees definitely helps to support and provide a lot of cool prize support for the event.
Yeah, and that's and I do kind of like this mix. I know Jerry and I were talking a little bit about this. Like the only awkward part was trying to get everybody the like league card prizes, because like that's the only thing like maybe logistically we got to try and figure out, because like I think Jerry was even like, man, I don't even know if I want to do like the actual league tournament kit again. Like that was a lot of work to just like get the stuff, and I'm like, I think it's cool that AMG gives us something where like everyone gets a prize, because like I like this mix of like we did with the bingo cards and everything. Like everybody got a prize, they got to do something fun. You got to put a couple of tickets in for raffles, and then there's like special prizes for being in the top 4 and the winner and all of that. Like I like having this mixture of things. So even if you go 1 and 3, you still have a good time.
Right, exactly. So I think we had a good time with it. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think it was a great event. I'm looking forward to running it back next year. I think it was funny. There was probably since we had such a large turnout and they were doing a learn to play thing at the same time, there was probably about like 6 people that were very interested in the game that came up. So hopefully, it'll start growing even more. So I mean, if we can get, 34 players in a league. I know that we're adding Tucson next year or next season. So as long as they're still up for that anyway, so we start adding all of that together. It's gonna turn into something pretty awesome. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully like the Tucson community like reaches back out to us to sit there and get started for our next league, which is going to probably be starting up in about 2-ish months, I'm assuming, so that we can sit there and get that set up get that all knocked out before the holidays and everything like that. So I know Jared and I will probably, get into our admin chat with you and figure out what we're going to do there. But I think that kind of wraps up like what we wanted to talk about, unless you got anything else that you wanted to discuss today.
No, just I feel a little lucky that where we are definitely lends itself to a lot of people wanting to do gaming because let me tell you that room was packed, and I know if you haven't seen Gamers Guild North, like go on our Discord. I'm sure there's different pictures we've taken of. It is a massive gaming space, and it was full, and there was people walking around like because we had X-Wing Armada. I don't think there was any Legion, right? I don't remember seeing
for Learn to Play. No,
Yeah.
I didn't see any Legion, but they had that. They had MCP, 2 tables for MCP Learn to Play, and everything along those lines. And like so, it was there was a lot. I mean, and then they had like Necromunda, they had Dice Throne, they had a couple of like an RPG of some sort that was going on, and those guys seem to be having a blast. So I mean, like they just had, and plus there was all the pre-releases for Star Wars Unlimited. I mean, it's a giant space. It's like it used to be a gym, and they converted it into a game store. Just so like, and it was a large gym. It wasn't a small one. It was like think of like a larger size gym and how big that space is, and they converted it into like all of that space into a game store with a restaurant and bar attached to it as well. So it's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
So I'm glad they were able to host the event for us, and that went well. But I just we got a pretty good community, and like you said, there's new play. Like there was a ton of players that more or less started at the beginning of the league, and this is their journey to improving. And now, I mean, some of them are pretty experienced tabletop gamers, so it's like this is just a new game they're trying. So shout out to Silver Lining, who learned how the rules of cover worked for now until another corner case comes up.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean like but Silver Lining definitely. I mean he took second in like the statewide or citywide Warhammer League. So like I mean there's like 80 people or something like that, 100 people in that league. So I mean he's just a good miniatures gamer to begin with.
Oh yeah.
So no, it was fantastic though. I appreciate, and like I said, appreciate everybody that came out and played in our event and everything like that. And like hopefully like if there's people out there that are like have questions about like how we did it or want like to kind of rack our brains to sit there and help you like run a successful one, you can definitely reach out to like myself and Aubrey for sure. I'm sure Jared's more than happy to sit there and he's Jerry Bullwinkle on like all of the Discords. So I'm sure he's more than happy to answer questions that you have as long as he's not, too busy with life and everything along those lines. But yeah, definitely can reach out to the two of us and we can definitely kind of give you like some pointers or like help you like out with like getting your league going. I mean, granted, like I said, we I think have one of the larger communities in the States and everything like that. So we're kind of blessed that way to sit there and have a really large community. But there, everyone, you can start wherever you want and definitely get your community growing however you like works for you and everything like that. But yeah, other than that, I think I'm all set. Just want to, again, as always, thank everybody for listening and tuning in and giving us your time, because I know it's one of those funny things. We're not the competitive people, but we like to sit there and talk Shatterpoint and talk about all the fun stuff and everything like that. But definitely appreciate each and every one of you guys. We definitely want to send a thanks to all of our patrons. You guys are amazing. Definitely help us do everything that we do. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely do so by becoming a patron. Our tiers are as little as $1 a month just to help keep us going and help us do what we do. If not, you can always just subscribe on YouTube if you're watching us on YouTube. YouTube, or just rate and review the podcast on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. We definitely appreciate any support that you are willing to give us. We do appreciate all of you guys. But as always, thanks again. And like I said, the most Aubrey thing you can do, because Omnis isn't here anymore, so I have to carry that torch in honor of him. The most Aubrey thing you can do is forget how to play the game.
May the force be with you.